This video is going to be about a Ayahuasca Analog experience I just had last night using Syrian Rue and Acacia confusa. I had done the experiment a couple of times using mimosa root bark and hadn't had the experience to the depth that I did. I also had to learn a few things about making the analog. One is that the Syrian Rue seeds need to be crushed in order to really get their potential out. After crushing the Syrian Rue, I used 6 tablets in a capsule form, and then I also filled up 6 tablets of the Acacia and took them about 20 minutes apart. The onset took quite a while, and then when it started to come on, I was familiar with the feelings in general of a ayahuasca trip, but of course this was a bit different, and then the ayahuasca setting wasn't there. I laid down for a while, concentrated, and mused over my thoughts. Then my body started to shake, shiver. This again was something I'm somewhat familiar with, and even experienced this on psilocybin. It was at this point, as the transition of normal reality into that other state, that I always get the feeling of, why in the hell did I do this? I don't like this. It's making me feel bad, I'm nauseous, I'm shaking. I'm not going to do this again. And herein comes the general premise that these psychedelics are not addictive. If anything, you've really got to work up the nerve to do it again. And at that time, of course I said, no, I'm not going to. But I've had that experience again as well in the ayahuasca ceremonies. It's a transitional phase. It's not a pleasant one. And it's kind of like the ordeal you have to go through to get past it. And of course that's somewhat hard to do as your ego consciousness is reluctant to give up its place. You don't want to leave. You want it to go away, go back to normal, take some antidote. But that stage does pass, and then you go into a more open, calmer stage. I suppose this is where the icaros come in for ayahuasca. The singing, the chupacras help you pass that stage, lead you through it easier. I did this experience without any icaros, just by myself, to experience it for what it is. And again, that's to get down to the truth of the matter. Explaining that truth is near impossible. I want to add here just a quick note to anyone that's considering doing the ayahuasca analog for themselves. If you're not experienced with this, you're not going to be as prepared, even if you are experienced with this. Each trip may be and is uniquely individual, and you have to really brace yourself and be prepared for some of the things that happen. And if you have never experienced these things, I can tell you that you're going to be in a position so unusual that you may panic. I can't say that you don't go through these, or at least in myself, and I am experienced with this somewhat, ordeals without some measure of fear at points. And I explain this a little bit later. But here I just want to caution anyone that has never done this, not to jump in such an ordeal, as it's took me quite a while just to get this far, and I am by no means an expert, or wishing to jump in farther, even though I know there's a deeper end of this pool. Now this is my experience, so I can't say for sure how anyone would react, but I do have to put in this caution that you may not be prepared. Now back to my experience. Now what I should have really done was record everything and spoken it as it happened, so I have a better recollection of the entire ordeal. But now I'm just going to have to do this from memory as best I can and try to explain it as best I can, trying to hit the points that I can best get across. After this, I actually got up to kind of walk it off, but the trip was going to take a while and was in the beginning stages. And here's where reality started to show more things underneath. I've been doing some research on brain chemistry and the various avenues that these entheogens react upon, and so I was working with that idea in mind as well. That reality that we see is a construct in the brain, but reality that is really out there may have hidden qualities, which these entheogens reveal. But also within that change and reveal and a higher state of consciousness comes other things, such as fear. So that would be the next state. To really see underneath reality, the ego starts to fear. That fear is a representation, I think, of it not wanting to die. And again, that's one of the reasons I have used these, is to understand how this is all working together. And what it comes down to is who is I, that is true awareness and perceiving. And I find that that deeper portion is more than an ego, and is not something that can die. But within that shift of reality, the normal waking consciousness isn't used to it, and I've reached that state and level a couple of times, where it wants to put on the brakes, doesn't have to see what's behind it all, it just wants to play the game here. And the thing about the entheogens is if you take enough, you'll get past that. Of course, I've always found that your mind is, at least in my case, in somewhat control of it, and I can think my way down, stay grounded. Because taking that step to the next level is difficult. And of course my opinion is, it's not even necessary, because we're all going to be taking that step one day. But here we are in search, at least for myself, of how reality is composed, what consciousness and self is within it, how it works, and I am looking for the objective proof I need to make statements that I've got a hold of that truth. Now I have been speaking here on YouTube somewhat, but I am not teaching in any form or fashion until I've actually got that proof. And when I do, I'll know that what I'm teaching has the validity it needs. Now this does bring up another particular avenue that comes through, and that is the truth can't be denied. In a sense, the truth is what you are. It's the most deepest level of being, of existence. And it can't be denied because it truly is the only thing real in you, in your life and existence. And under that, there's deeper levels of what that self is. And I don't care what the beliefs you may have are. The truth of it can never be denied because it is. And I found this is my main key in the search. To try and get rid of the beliefs, dogmas, what other people might say. And just look. See what is left. What do I get down to? Of course, there's a lot of here I can't explain readily on a simple video. I can't even say that you'll experience the same thing, other than the one thing you can experience, which is who you are, the self or spirit that is deep within, and that is experience existence at all. Now after this stage, I again saw my fractal patterns. I didn't lay down for any deeper meditation, but wanted to view reality within this new framework. And within that, I did get new insights. Trying to explain those would be fun. More or less the connection with the body, that it feels and can experience, that I can feel and experience, that it exists this way in such a miraculous form, that it does exist, that I am experiencing. Later on the same lines as I have with ayahuasca, I went through that greater appreciation of all existence, that whatever creative force, that I exist and am experiencing, and that all of it is so wonderful. I'm hoping someday that I will get some proof, for myself at least, on some of the things I believe in the nature of reality, but have yet to see in the objective form. And as a scientist, without that manifestation in reality that I am experiencing at this level, there's not much I can teach about it. As for the rest of it, I leave this to your own explorations, and wish you well. Thank you.